You are welcome to Module 1, Unit 1. In today's unit, we are looking at a definition of terms in statistics. Statistics is the science dealing with the development of scientific procedures of collection, organization, analysis, and interpretation of results of analysis of statistical data. Now, the terms statistic is the collection of methods for planning experiments, obtaining data, and then organizing, summarizing, presenting, analyzing, interpreting, and drawing conclusions. Another term is variable. Variable are the characteristics or attributes that can assume different values. Then we also have random variables. What is a random variable? A variable whose values are determined by chance. Random variable, it is a real-valued function whose values can be taken within a defined range. Another term is population. Populations are subjects possessing a common characteristics that is being studied. Sample. Samples is a fractional part or a subgroup or a representative or subset of the population. Another term is the parameter. Parameter is just the characteristics or a measure obtained from a population. The next one is the sample, is the statistic, not to be confused with statistic. The first statistic we define is the real cost, that is the definition. But the one we are talking about is the statistic without X. This particular one is the characteristics or measure obtained from a sample. So we also have descriptive statistic. Descriptive statistic, that is the collection, organization, summarization, and presentation of data. In most cases, descriptive statistics are used to examine or employ one variable at a time. However, the relationship between two variables can also be described as with correlation and regression. We also have inferential statistics. Inferential statistics, generalizing from samples to population using probabilities. Performing hypothesis testing, determining relationship between variables and making predictions. Inferential statistics can help us to decide if a difference or relationship can be considered real or just a chance function. We have variables. Variables whose are determined by chance are called random variables. And we have types of variables. We have qualitative variables and we also have quantitative variables. Now, what is qualitative variables? Variables which assume non-numerical values. Examples of qualitative variables are color, sex, which we also refer to as gender, marital status, number plates of our vehicles, matric number, that is matriculation numbers, and so on. We also have quantitative variables. quantitative variables are variables which assume numerical values. Examples of quantitative variables are age, height, temperature, weight, score in a test, IQ, that is intelligent quotient, and so on. These quantitative variables can be divided into two aspects, that is into two variables. That is, we have discrete variables as well as a continuous variable. When we talk of discrete variables, variables which assume a finite or countable number of values, usually obtained by counting. There are finite or countable number of choice available with discrete data. You cannot have 2.63 people in a room. Examples are number of children in a family, number of accidents in a day, number of students in a class, and so on. We also have continuous variables. Continuous variables are variables which assume an infinite number of possible values, usually obtained by measurements. This implies a boundary depending on the number of decimal places. For example, 64 is really anything between 63.5 and 64.49. Likewise, if there are two decimal places, then 64.03 is really anything between 63.025 and 63.035. Boundaries always have one more decimal places than the data and end in a 5. Examples of continuous variables are, or continuous data, weight, that is your weight or an instrument, the weight of an instrument or weight of anything. The height, it can be your own height. Length, it can be the length of a table, length of a car. Width, it can be the width of anything, maybe width of one particular object. Score in a test. Then time is also continuous. As I'm talking now, the time is moving. It's a continuous thing. Then the temperature. This temperature can be the temperature in a room, temperature of one particular machine that is under process. Thank you. This is where we are going to end today's lecture. In the next video, we are going to discuss the concept of data. Make sure you go through your assignment, that is the TMA questions. Ensure you consider all the examples there. Thank you. See you in the next video.